Yeah. So we're loaded in now to game number 2. We have our red Terran player in the southeast position currently up 1-0, playing pretty damn well from Team CM Storm. He is Polt. And his opponent in the northeast, the spawns definitely not favoring him this time, needs these 2 wins in a row to pull things back for not only this match, but his hopes in this tournament. Give it up for Liquid Snute.
Big fan favorite here. One of the only foreigners, the only foreigner
The only left.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's got to do it. He just has to, man. And unfortunately for him, he did get the unlucky spawns as well.
Yeah.
His pocket natural is going to be direct flight from Polt's main, which is always going to be a problem, always something to worry about here.
Being from Australia, you know, those direct flights are pretty nice when you can get them right
No,
on blade.
it's amazing. It changes your life, and it's going to change this game completely for Polt.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what kind of play he brings out, and that's, of course, my Terran bias kicking in a little bit. Polt's going to open up Command Center first, it looks like, this game once again.
Why not?
Seems like enough Zergs have gotten good enough at defending Reaper play, and I think Zerg builds have gotten predictable enough on these maps. Terran's like, yeah, going Command Center first sounds pretty good.
I mean, when you're ahead as well, like, when you up a game, like, you might as well take, like, a greedy approach if that's kind of the style you prefer. Like,
yeah.
No,
it really puts the push on your opponent, like the pressure on your enemy to punish you for the greed. And at that point, you know, with the way that Snute's been playing, he hasn't really shown any like all-in-ish type builds
really
that we've seen.
And kind of an interesting note, we see the hatch go down at the pocket natural before the low ground, which is something a bit interesting because usually you want to start spreading creep pretty early on from that low ground, which is usually why you see a lot of Zergs actually put the hatch down there before anything else.
Yeah, I think that's, like, for Snute, especially with these spawns, now that he realizes it, because his Overlords reached Polt's base, and Polt should realize it based on when the Overlord reached his base, that Snute is in the top right.
Yeah.
That's going to be a big target, and I wonder if that's going to influence Polt's decision-making as far as, do I go for a Banshee, do I go for a drop? Because I feel like drop play, when you're in these spawns, like, it has the potential to do so much more sustained damage, whereas a Banshee can generally be held off on any map if you have the Spore Crawler there with a Queen.
The hard thing is, though, that because he knows it's those spawns, he's like, well, that's kind of a predictable approach. It's like, okay, you have a very, very close by air position. He's probably going to pressure my natural a lot. I have to be very aware of that. So maybe he'll try and go around that. Maybe he'll try something different and target that in the mid-game, in the later game, when he does have that big ball of army and he can double drop like the natural and try and create chaos and force the Zerg to split up their army a lot more.
Yeah, it's really tricky. It's a tough spot to be in. We're gonna have to see how he handles this. He does take a little bit later gas than he has in his other games, so you know, whether it be for that Zergling speed or just moving into some sort of greedy layer play, I think it's not going to have a crazy impact because Polt's not really the kind of guy to die to aggressive play either. He's got his factory on the way. No second gas yet from Polt. I'm getting a third command center type vibe from him so far here.
Yeah, I'm kind of seeing that too. And I kind of like how he got a delayed gas as well because
the other thing with the delayed gas, you can do this, I guess, too. This is another pretty decent option. This is not exactly what I expected from Polt. I think I've only seen him do this. Last time he did this, I think, was on like Frost against Hyun. He like went for this 3 barracks play.
Wow, that's a while ago.
Yeah, it might have been. You know, I can't remember exactly the map, but it totally didn't work.
Well,
it's interesting,
I think it might work because, well, for now we see Snute going very greedy. He does know it was CC first. That's why he delayed the gas. That's why the Ling speed is so very delayed at this point. And from here, he just got that fast third, and he's just droning hardcore. So you know what? A timing could be the perfect opportunity here for Polt.
Yeah. Thing is, like, Zergling speed is always nice to have against aggressive play, but what's, I think, much more important is having that Baneling nest, because this is a build that relies usually on a lot of Marines, but it's actually really nice that Snute, his Overlord gets in, he sees these barracks, and he also sees Tech Lab plus Reactor. So Polt has actually made his original barracks, after he swapped the factory, he's put a Tech Lab on that bad boy, so this is going to be, well, it seems like a Hellion Marauder type push.
Are you thinking like Hellbat Marauder sort of style here?
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, it could. Yeah, Hellbats are actually pretty. They're never a bad option
Never,
against Zerg.
ever.
I'm sure you would agree.
I completely agree with you. And no, but I mean, we did see Snute scout everything, which kind of gives away. Okay, it's going to be a 2cc. It's going to be a timing. I have to have something out, whether it's going to be a Baneling Nest or a Roach Warren or a sufficient amount of queens, something is going to have to be there.
The weird thing is, like, just going for Banelings is still going to be tricky if there are Marauders in play. And now we see 2 being built at a time. Snute's like, oh, he had his Roach attack started, and then he canceled it, so he is going to go and just Zergling upgrades. And like, Lings can deal with Marauders, but Hellions and or Hellbats will deal with the Lings. So
they'll kind of just wipe everything out. So it's going to be interesting. We do see the Baneling Nest finally going down as well. 1-1 on the way. I mean, 1-1's going to help out a great deal if he can get there in time, but I feel like this push is going to come before that's finished.
Yeah, I mean, Polt has his own +1 attack on the way anyway, and he's still getting combat shield. So the few Marines that are going to trickle out of his reactored barracks will also be very important. This is the kind of push that, like, if Polt fails with this, because he has no 3rd command center, generally the Terran's like totally dead.
Yeah, he should
die.
But
there's a degree of damage that you can do that you can start a really late 3rd, and you kind of make it work anyway. So.
We're seeing a lot of Lings being made here. I actually think we're going to see a Ling Bane all-in from Snute at this point, because he's stopped drone production completely. And this is kind of scary because it is going to be a 2-base Terran. It's going to be entirely up to Polt to identify this is actually happening.
Yeah.
So many Zerglings being made.
He starts up his lair behind it, but he recognizes that there's a big threat here. Keep in mind, there's no armory built. There's now a starport in production, so Hellbats are not really in the cards.
Ooh, if he can surround these Hellions, actually, it's going to make the biggest difference in the world here. Ooh, Polt gonna have to try and get out of here.
Not quite able to get it. The Marines and Marauders are going to show up during all of this, and Snute's actually building 12 drones, so he's not going to have any forces that can be really active coming out for the next moment or two. 8 Banelings being made, not bad, but he can't produce a torrent of Lings. The Marauders run up front, immediately going to go for this Spine Crawler. They do pick it off. The Banelings, almost all of them, crashing into those Marauders.
Huge mistake there, and he still has a lot of Banelings though, but great splits from Polt.
This control from Polt, really good. Kills all the Banelings now, the rest of them off creep. Zerglings are being made, but with a number of Hellions, it's just not going to cut it. Polt charging into the 3rd, killing Queen after Queen, and these Banelings being more canceled. I mean, this has worked about as well as Polt could have asked so far.
It's actually worked perfectly here, and we actually see a 20 supply lead already, 30 supply lead almost, and every drone at the 3rd base is gone. And from here, more and more Hellions are coming in here as long as they keep them split. Don't take Baneling hits.
Banelings can't catch the Hellions on creep, man, and these Lings are going to come out. Not